How's it going, everyone? My name is Will from Ghosthack, and today we're going to be making the main synth bass used in the track 6 Days by Colonel Bagshot and Mahmut Orhan, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and the synth sounds like this. Alright, unfortunately I'm not able to play the original track in this video for copyright reasons, but I encourage you to go listen to the track and listen to the sound that I'm talking about because the recreation is pretty dang accurate. But for right now, let's just get into this Serum preset. And it's really not that complicated of a sound once I get through it. There's just a couple of things that are very important to making this. Now, it starts its life as a saw wave. Nothing even close to what we want. So what we're going to have to do is immediately go in and filter this guy. So I turn on the filter and I just left it on the MG low 12. Now you can't see anything happening right now because I'm controlling the level, and the level is all the way down. If I were to turn this off and I was just controlling the mix, then you'd be able to see something happening. And just for tutorial reasons, let me just turn this all the way up. We'll bring it back to how it was before. But this is essentially what I'm doing with the filter. I just use this low pass filter as kind of a pluck, and I have the saw down 2 octaves, so it's on bass level. And LFO1 here is just making this shape. This is on envelope, right, on 1/4, and it's moving the cutoff like this. And that's what's giving it, you know, the plucky filter sound. But what I did here with this knob is I clicked mix right here, and it turned it into a level. And then I brought the level down, and I'm also modulating the volume with LFO1. So now this is controlling the actual volume of everything coming through the filter. You can see it kind of sliding down as time goes on. That's just an extra volume knob for everything because we're routing 3 things into this filter. We're routing A, B, and the sub. So that's actually oscillator B, kind of the base of the sound, covered pretty simply. But next up, I want to turn this off and go into oscillator A, which is also running through the filter. This is the debussy wavetable, which has very interesting harmonics to it. It has some nice tone. Let me turn off the filter. You can hear it almost sounds like a chord. It's a very harmonic wavetable. I like using it, especially at the very beginning like it is. It's just on the first frame. And then when we run it through the filter, we get kind of that chordish sounding pluck. And this is just down 1 octave. It's not down 2 octaves. So it layers with the saw like this. It's kind of an organic sounding layer that adds harmony. After that, I went into the sub, which I'm actually using this pulse-width-modulated squarewave sound. Let me turn these guys off. And this is what it sounds like. Of course, it's running through the filter. If I weren't to run it through the filter, it would sound like this. Just a very harsh sound. So I wanted to run it through the filter, but this is just adding more harmonics on top of everything else. And this is actually up 1 octave, right? This was down 2, this was down 1, and this is up 1. So we've got kind of a wide spectrum of octaves in this one sound, which is what makes it sound so rich and harmonic, but also deep and kind of pure. It all kind of blends together very well. Whose dogs are barking? Now, if some of you are following along with me in Serum, you may notice that your sound might not sound exactly the same yet, and that's because there's LFO2 right here, which is doing this really quick shape. If I were to bring this down, it wouldn't be quite as plucky. What this is doing, LFO2, is just this really quick shape controlling the master tune. So if we go into the matrix, select LFO2 right here, and then we select master tune under the global tab, then I can just bring this up to pretty much anywhere, just up really high, and then bring it down very quickly. And you can see this is moving extremely fast, so it's hard to hear. I could obviously accentuate it if I wanted to. But I didn't. I just wanted to add a little bit of that pitchy transient. So that's not necessary, but it sounds pretty good and sounds like these. All right, we're really getting somewhere here. There's only a few effects we have left to put on this. The first one is an EQ, which first off, I have this kind of low pass filter going on that we have here, and I'm controlling the frequency of that with LFO1. So that's making sure we're not getting super high clicks and there's not too many high, you know, snappy transients. We didn't really want that. This is a warmer sound. So that's just doing that, and it's pretty simple what it's doing. I have no resonance or anything, it's just rolling it off. And then I have one peak right here, just sitting right at, let's see, where's this frequency? This is at around 210 hertz. I have a peak just sitting there, just accentuating that one spot because, you know, I thought it needed it and it sounded like there was accentuation in the original track. So that's all I did there, just shaping it a little bit. Next, I added a little bit of reverb, not a lot. This is just a tad bit of hall reverb. I brought the size down really low, the decay's not too high, and I only mixed it in a little bit. You want to be careful with your reverb on the basses. If you add reverb on basses, you do not want there to be a ton of it. It'll sound very messy and washed out. And you want to make sure you bring the low cut up a little bit so it's not reverberating, you know, the really low frequencies. No, nobody wants that. And the last thing we're going to do in Serum is just turn on the hyper dimension. So we're going to get a little bit of mix here with this hyper. I didn't change any of these settings. And then we're not using any of the dimensions. So it's just a little bit extra spread. And that's not even necessary if you don't want it. I just think it kind of thickens up the sound a little bit no matter what sound I'm making if I just mix in a little bit of hyper. So that's legitimately all you need to do inside of Serum. There's only two things left. The first one would be an EQ, which I'm just kind of shaping how I thought the sound sounded in the original track when I was listening back to it. I just wanted to change the spectrum. I boosted a little bit of the bass and some of the frequencies up in here to make it sound a little more, you know, hollow and almost organic. I thought those frequencies needed boosting a little bit, so I just created these two little wavy shapes. And then after that, I threw on a little bit of the Soundgoodizer. Man, just throwing the Soundgoodizer on sounds like this automatically makes it brighter, it makes it sharper, it makes it deeper and fuller. You can just hear how it sounds now. It helps synths like these kind of fill out the mix a little more if you just put a little bit on there. You could go in with Maximus and do this, but the Soundgoodizer is just much simpler and it's pretty easy. And that is how this sound is made. It's not complex, you know, it's not super crazy. You just want to get some organic, you know, sounding sounds over a deep bass sound. And when you layer them all together, you can get a nice rich pluck like this. And as I said before, this was a tutorial request that we found in the comment section of one of our videos. So if you have, you know, a sound design request that you want to see or a tutorial request that you think would be very interesting, you know, leave it down below. We can't guarantee that we're going to get to all of the requests, but we really appreciate the ideas because we want to know what you guys want to see from us. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you in the next video. Happy producing.